not attempt to adjust your computer, there's nothing wrong. We have taken control as to bring you this special show. The Mothership flies through cyberspace once again. My name is Dobie Maxwell, the King of Uranus, riding sidecar to your left, to my right, Greg DeGuire, dressed up, the $6 million man, ready to go in his new T-shirt. What T-shirt is that?
I was going to say that I think that's the first T-shirt change in 17 episodes.
Yeah, maybe this is.
I don't know what the logo is. Is it the Nazca line?
This is Spider-Man's enemy, Venom. The bad guy.
Gotcha. Well, Greg is right. All to my right, to your left, to my right, whatever it is. Our Millennial Falcon, Carrie Turner, working. What is your official title besides that? You are our, what do you do, the technical person?
Sorta. I mean, I couldn't figure it out today, so I
Jack of all trades.
No, Jackette. Jill
of all trades.
Jackette sounds too sketchy.
Well, representing the millennials.
A disclaimer, I'm wearing my mother-in-law's band shirt, so if we're going to show off our T-shirts.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Check out Second Youth.
Second Youth, what is, so it's like
cover band.
That sounds like fun.
They do, really awesome. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They do one of the best Whitesnake covers. This is Still the Night? No, not Still the Night.
What is Whitesnake?
One of the Whitesnake songs.
Did they have a hit?
They had many. They
Once
had
bitten,
many.
Twice shy?
No, that was Great White.
That's Great White.
Right,
Whitesnake, Great White, White Supremacist.
Now it's just, anyways, they do really complicated covers.
Black Lives Matter.
Yes.
Aliens Matter.
Whitesnake.
Wait, what was that? Sorry.
I'm sorry.
Well, they do really great. That band does most excellent covers.
You like the Joseph, I can never say his name, the cover of Joseph and... What was his name? You were surprised that they did it.
Sounds like...
they did most cover bands do easier material. Yeah. Not these guys. It's complicated what they do.
The record, the Edmund Fitzgerald.
They didn't do that one.
Oh, see, that's a hard song, I would think would be.
But check them out.
Yeah.
The Macarena.
It's my favorite cover.
Don't worry, be happy. This is Al, our alien pal. We are Mothership Connection. We cover all things weird, strange, conspiracy theory, and in this day and age, we are now the media. We are a computer age where we can all get, even if you're one person and you're watching our show, technically we are the media. The big media, as Greg likes to do with the quotation marks, is probably controlled by about 6 people, and they are pumping things into the new generation, Carrie's generation.
They brought you, they are part of the Egg Council, and they brought you the electric car, and they made Steve Gutenberg a star for some reason.
And every 3-year-old that drives past a McDonald's with grandma and grandpa, that McDonald's, why do they want it? It's unbelievably in their psyche from the smallest age to go to McDonald's, and it's a treat to them to eat that crap food.
Everyone knows the jingle.
Yep, it is totally in there. So that is the quote-unquote media. Now, Greg has been a student of media and conspiracy for quite a time, and it is amazing to me that when they deregulate it, there's only a few people that control everything you see. Just because something is on the news doesn't mean, A, that it's true, and number 2, that it is the way it happened.
Yeah. It's a shame it took me so long to figure that out.
Yes.
But thankfully, as a kid growing up, I watched a lot of local news. I grew up we're in Kenosha, Wisconsin, so I watched a lot of news out of Milwaukee. My parents were fascinated with Channel 4 news. So nowadays, and I don't think that local news is under that kind of scrutiny because it's all local coverage. Yeah, the overbearing network, so they're owned by, it's an NBC subsidiary. So NBC may have an agenda that they want to follow specific lines. That rarely filters down to local level, and if it does, it's minuscule.
Because they just get to the story right away.
Yeah, they talk about local car crashes, carjacking, thievery, local stuff like that.
Man bites dog.
Stuff like that. Now, we're talking about, like, the NBC Nightly News. We're talking about stuff like that. I do
60
believe...
Minutes?
60 Minutes, yeah. CNN. Yeah, even ESPN, for that matter. The Weather Channel got corporate. I used to watch... When we first got cable... I used to watch the Weather Channel a lot.
I used to tape it.
You had local on the 8s. I mean, it was fun. Nowadays, it looks like it's been corporate controlled terribly wrong. So now every storm has a name. Now the maps are white for some reason, and precipitation is different colors. I'm like, well, if the map was in white, are we covered in snow? Weather Channel, for God's sake, get it together. You go back to what you used to do. Sorry. I'm going off on the Weather Channel.
Yeah, Weather Channel. But they're watching this time.
Yeah, they're watching this time. They know. Send them a cold front. So as we're taping this, speaking of weather, there's a horrible disaster happening right now in Houston, Texas. It's Hurricane Harvey. And it's devastating what's happening down there. And I know we don't always talk current events, But I've been fixated.
This is what, no offense, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go,
This
yeah,
is an
go.
event like Hurricane Katrina that was several years ago as we
Oh.
record this. That is something that's going to be around forever. So this, we hate to say it, it's the most
To
rain.
quote Trump, it's huge.
Huge.
It's huge.
It
It's
is
going to
the
be
most
huge.
rain. And then, no,
Most rain on the
caused the
planet
most
ever.
rain.
Most rain ever.
he was down there today wearing a hat. I could picture the hurricane. His hair is all blowing over. You know?
Staring into the
Trumpicane.
eclipse
Yeah,
again.
the Trumpicane. So I've been watching. I had the day off this particular day today, and I'm watching. And I know everyone can have their own political view on what channel you want to watch. The One America News or CNN or MSNBC or Fox. I don't care what you watch. And I don't watch anyone specific because of their political viewpoints, because I rarely do it anyways. But the coverage has been so all over the place. The pictures, everything. So I'm channel flipping today, and I landed on CNN, and I stayed on it for quite some time because it's just ridiculous what's happening down there. So this happens with every natural disaster that the reporters show up, like bees to sugar, like ants to a picnic, or flies to crap. The reporters just invade and infest these poor people who are having their lives ripped apart, their property destroyed. They've got nothing left. In some cases, their pets will be missing. It's sad. It's sad. And these reporters stick cameras in people's faces. You, sir, we just saw you climb out of a pile of crap. Can you explain your day today? Exactly. So for the first time ever, I saw recoil from an interviewee. Is it the person being interviewed or the interviewee, I think? Interviewee. And I've watched a lot of coverage in my life over natural disasters or man-made disasters, you name it. They're always talking a man on the street. You saw the planes hit the towers. What did you see? Yeah, I saw a plane hit the tower. Thank you. Let's go on to the next one. I get it. This time, a person, there was backlash. So for those of you who normally watch the show, and we thank you if you do, we try not to use a lot of potty mouth or a lot of bad words or a lot of language. It happens, and we're fine with it. This is the internet. This isn't the radio. Today, I'm going to drop the granddaddy of them all because I saw it live on TV, and I'm going to retell the story. So if anyone who's afraid of naughty language,
turn
away, whatever.
If you live in an Amish compound off the grid in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan,
just be prepared. There's gonna be a big one coming here. So this poor lady is a female reporter, and she's at a shelter. I don't remember. It's outside of Houston, and all these poor people, they're just wrecked. Clothes are just drenched. They're shivering cold. They got nothing left. They're clinging on to blankets and bottles of water with their lives. And CNN's shoving cameras in people's faces. So this lady is a reporter. Excuse me, ma'am, can you describe your day today? And you can just see that, not today. So this lady, and it's not funny, but it made me laugh. But the situation's not funny, but it made me laugh. Here it goes. So the lady says this to that question. I'm soaking wet. My children are soaking wet. I'm shivering. We're freezing. The fuck is your problem? Pointing the camera in my goddamn face. Like, whoa. CNN, what went wrong? And the reporter is just like flabbergasted. And she's like, back to you, Bob. And the guy's station's like, we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break. We'll be back in a minute.
They just go back and forth. Back to you, Becky.
The Pope has heard that before.
I've never heard that before. I'm an interviewee in a situation like this. Yeah, we've all heard the word, but I've never heard it like that before. Oh. And not that I'm shocked by hearing the word. I think it's great. It's about time. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, woman, whoever you are, for telling this reporter to go stuff herself. Thank you. Because that's a bottom line question to this. You're recording people's worst day of their lives. You get these photographs, you get these professional photographers. I saw one today. A poor dog is drowning, and there's a picture of the dog's face. Saddest picture ever. Why? Put the camera down.
If it bleeds,
help the dog.
Yeah.
Help the dog. I don't understand. I guess I don't understand what is the fascination, and guilty as charged because I watch TV all day today watching coverage. What is our fascination? But the thing is, I would have watched the same amount of coverage if it didn't have people in it. Like just watching the flooded streets, the helicopter views, the rotational map of the precipitation, the graphs, the charts of the rainfall, I still would have watched that. we don't need to stick cameras in these people's faces when it's the end of their known lives. You know, for all intents and purposes, this is the end for them. They're gonna have to start over, maybe somewhere else. They may never get back to their homes. This is gonna take years to recoup. Why? Why does this happen? Why do news people feel the need to shove a camera, someone fresh out of a car crash? Can you describe the crash, sir?
Well,
Why?
I'll tell you the reason.
Here we go.
Because you can't help but look. It is human nature. You don't want to look at a car wreck, but you have to drive by and you yell at all the gapers when you're in line, and then you get up there and what do you do? Same thing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to see a
Look
loose,
at these rubberneckers. I'm not gonna. Oh wait, what happened?
a loose hand. Bring the bodies over. Let me see the blood,
Yep.
and then I'll go
Yep.
on my way. I think it's in the human psyche that you cannot turn away from something like that. So the news being based on ratings. Have you ever seen an ugly news anchor, especially women? It's very sexist. I'm
No.
sorry. You know, you have to be a stunning, almost a supermodel looker because it attracts people.
Now
at
it
their
wasn't that way
lowest-
before HD television.
It
HD
was
television changed the scope of everything. Anyways,
Now you can see zits from 500 meters.
and that female approach, she got way too much notice here. Someone got to tell her that.
She had a
So
Brazilian.
I don't know. I guess here's the thing. Maybe not talk to people. Look, you want to show long lines of people and their depravity. I mean, you want to see so the country understands what these people are going through. I think this can be done maybe tastefully if that's possible.
Don
and I think it
Henley's
is
quote,
possible.
It's interesting when people die. They love dirty laundry.
Yeah. So that's going to be interesting when the waters finally do subside, what they're going to find left behind. They're going to be finding all kind of crap. And I was at work and I was joking that someone's going to find a shark swimming in these waters. And it turns out I saw news footage today of a shark swimming in a highway in Houston. Turns out that was fake. That was a Photoshop. It's still, even that being faked, it wouldn't surprise me if someone found like a lemon shark or some kind of tiger shark that came in through the Gulf, found its way in because all this moisture is coming out of the Gulf, that it could survive a little ways inland. It
They've
wouldn't
already
shock
found
me.
2 alligators in like someone's backyard just swimming around.
That wouldn't shock me at all. But yeah, I guess if anyone's watching this who wants to spread the word to their local news coverage people, please have some respect, man. I mean, yeah, people want to see the devastation, so it's going to empower me maybe to donate. You know, if I didn't have real world problems of my own, I would get in a car and drive down there because it'd be such a cool thing to help these people. You feel empowered to want to do something. But I'm not going to go interviewing people. And for the love of, here's a bottle of water. I don't need to know. Just take your time. Why? I understand. I mean, I get it. But come on,
Now,
man.
what is the death toll as we record? I heard 8. That was earlier.
I heard
today.
8 plus an officer. They found an officer drowned just today, and the Houston police chief lost it on camera because they couldn't retrieve the body. They had to let him go. Because of the currents and the situation and the manpower, they saw him go under and they couldn't pull him out. So they may never find that poor bastard's body. They don't know where it is now. They may find it downstream 100 miles away. They don't know. So it's totally sad.
One thing that's horrible, even worse, is that when Katrina happened in New Orleans, I don't know what year exactly that was.
This was exactly
2004?
yeah.
Was
Well,
it that long? I thought it was 10, maybe 9 or 10. I could be wrong. You could be
Was this
right.
it was 2005.
5. Okay.
So it was 11 years ago.
11 years ago.
11 years
wow,
ago.
that time does fly.
Yeah.
12 years ago.
Well, a lot of those people that were displaced from New Orleans went
Moved
to
to
Houston.
Houston. Yeah, they were talking to 2-time survivors of Katrina and this, and they're talking about now. I guess The Rock, to Dwayne The Rock Johnson, donated a bunch of money because his family survived Hurricane Andrew, that just completely decimated Florida years before that even too, and he's trying to say that it may not look like it now, but in time this will come around. I mean,
Come around. What do you mean?
I mean, it'll be okay. If you lived, you will live again another day. And I guess that was his message.
And I didn't know this happened either. I saw on WGN yesterday that it was 20 plus years. There was a tornado, a big tornado that hit down in Plainfield, Joliet area.
Yes, it did.
This is the first coverage I ever saw of that back in the 90s.
Mhm.
I had never seen that.
Well, there's a
And I used to live over
town
there.
called Barneveld, Wisconsin.
Oh, got destroyed by a tornado.
There was about
Ripped-
14 people in the town. I
Yeah,
think.
ripped to shreds.
Yeah.
So disasters happen, but back then the coverage wasn't what it is now. And I remember watching that on Channel 4. I remember that happening. Now they sent reporters to look at the damage. They weren't shoving microphones in people's faces. You just lost your house. Can you tell me how you feel? Eat me. Get out of my face. I'm having a bad day. Clearly, you can see because now I live in sticks. So please
Have a
give me
heart.
exactly.
There are no hearts today. Sorry.
There aren't. Yeah, it's not like it was, and I fear it's going to get worse. Because here's what makes me laugh though, as far as over covering events. I still love the guy. This poor bastard. They put out in the storm chaser car, right on the edge of the shoreline, when the hurricane comes on shore for the first time, and this poor bastard's trying to talk in his microphone. Winds are going 100 miles an hour. His raincoat's flying over. I'm here in the Gulf Coast, Bob. It's pretty windy and rainy. I don't know what else to tell you. Well,
Back to you.
Back to you.
He's holding on like a flagpole.
Yeah. Feet off the ground. Wow, look at that. It must be really raining. It's a hurricane. What do you think is going to happen?
They're just observing. Wow, it's.
Hello, Mom. Yeah, I got a job in TV. I'm a TV reporter.
Can you see me? Let's go with one hand.
Yeah.
I'm
You're thinking to get a drone to do that now?
Well, you think that, don't you? I mean, can't you put a drone in this stuff? I mean,
Better a drone than a person.
Yeah.
well, no, because of what he said. If a reporter dies in the middle of a hurricane, that's ratings. That is ratings, Jack. Everyone's going to want to see that. And that's horrible part. Shame on society.
Well,
But
we
that's
talked
society
about
for
that.
you.
Was it the Schadenfreude episode that we want to see people kind of fail?
Yeah,
Or, you
because
know.
it gives me joy to see other people
Makes you
fail.
feel good as you kick back. And I did work on cruise ships, and when we're floating past Haiti, we're floating past Cuba. These people are eating, sock lint and worms for supper. I've got a piece of pizza in one hand, an ice cream cone in the other. I just had 6 pieces of prime rib. I'm belching. I'm farting. I've got Rolaids coming like M&M's.
The people on shore are
You
starving
got
to death.
Tums, so you can do it
I
all
got
over again.
Tums. I'm binging and purging. I'm projectile vomiting so the sharks can eat my residue so I can go right back to the buffet. I got a giant turkey leg in my hand. As the people in Haiti with their engorged bellies, they haven't eaten.
They'll kill for a piece of rice.
Exactly. And I'm just driving by the cruise ship saying, there's not enough food.
You're
in
just
this.
waving.
Exactly.
Dolphins are eating his crap so we can have bigger tuna.
This is bad.
I'm waving with a turkey
I
leg.
was gonna say,
Entire
I would
picnic
wave,
ham, it's the human animal is a cruel beast in many ways. A lot of that is survival instinct.
Yeah, and I hope that if you're getting into journalism and your name is Sean Frauda, just don't. Everyone's going to want to hate you for some reason.
That's true. Well, there's going to be a lot more of this. We're talking about, unfortunately, I mean, not to joke about it, but yes, it is a horrible thing in the hurricane situation. But now I was in Seattle a few years ago, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Seattle is basically wiped off the face of the earth when the volcano, there's a whole thing called the Ring of Fire up there. And Mount Rainier is going to blow, and Seattle is going to be just an oozing pit.
There go all of our Rainier cherries.
Greg's like...
San Francisco had the big earthquake in, I believe, 1906. Was that the big one?
Yeah, and then they had another one in the late 80s.
Late 80s. I remember
Disrupted the World Series, by God. You can't do that.
Well, he did that, but it didn't. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't a,
No.
It's a modern day. The gods are talking
Yeah, but
to us.
it's an eventuality. These things are going to happen.
But in the meantime, in the 150 years since all these things happened, you've built up cities and bridges and everything.
Because you forget.
We're going to lose millions of people.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I hate to say it. 8 people in Houston. We were so desensitized. 8. Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay attention till it's 108 or 801.
Well, it's going to be 8,000. And then I think proximity has something to do with it, too. I believe that there was a tsunami in, was it the Philippines? In maybe 2014, 15.
Oh, yeah.
There were thousands of deaths, but it was the Philippines.
Same with the one in Japan, the offshore earthquake that moved the entire island 8 feet to the left.
What?
Yeah,
it was bad.
That's when they had to shut down the nuclear plants. This was just a couple of years ago.
I don't know.
So the entire island. So if you're looking at a map, the entire island of Japan was shifted 8 feet in one direction.
What?
The whole thing. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not going to live in Japan. I'm sorry.
Well, and then I've always heard rumors that California is going to be going underwater.
Yeah, the San Andreas Fault's
decades.
is going to go off at some point in time, and the whole thing is going to shift. So just like the plot in the first Superman movie, Christopher Reeve, if you want to be the next billionaire landowner, you buy a bunch of land in Death Valley that's on the good side of the San Andreas Fault, because in the next 50 to 100 years, that's going to be the best beachfront property on the face of the planet. So buy now in Death Valley, or wherever wherever the other side, not the ocean side, but the inland side of the San Andreas Fault.
There was also a large fault, believe it or not, in the St. Louis area, which goes all the way through the state of Illinois.
It's the New Madrid Fault.
And did you hear about Antarctica too? They just sent out their first large craft boat without an icebreaker on it.
Well, now Antarctica wasn't always covered in ice. Now this is something new, and we know that from one thing. Anybody pay attention in school? How do we know that Antarctica in human history was not always covered in ice? It's a rarity. It's an obscure artifact that was found that nobody has a reasonable explanation for, but yet it exists. A specific map. It's called the Piri-Reis map.
Do tell.
So
do you know?
I didn't know this.
Learn this from.
He's in his own world.
So I read a lot, and in one of the books that I read, there's a map called the Piri-Reis map. Now Piri-Reis is a Greek sailor. Somehow he had in his possession a map that he wasn't sure where it came from, but it showed what looked like an aerial view of the outline of the coast of the eastern United States, Central America, South America, and the entire top of Antarctica, all with the lines of perfect shorelines. Map exists way before. This is an extremely old map. But what makes it obscure is it couldn't have been, because at that point in time, there should have been an ice shelf over Antarctica. We haven't learned the Antarctica shoreline until you can have these maps that can see through ice, these X-ray maps or whatever else that they use to find out what's under the ice. So that's just a recent thing, but yet this thing existed from hundreds of years ago. So how is that possible? Well, the only logical explanation is that it wasn't always covered in ice. So it doesn't need to be covered in ice. It is a new thing to have happen. So I guess I'm not surprised that weather patterns shift, things come and go, that at some point in time, Antarctica in my lifetime may not be covered in ice, yet we're still going to live for some reason.
There might be a cruise ship run that goes past there.
The Antarctic cruise ship.
Beachfront property.
Antarctica is also covered in volcanoes. Not a lot of people know that. So it's an active area. So obviously, if a volcano blows and lava comes out, bye-bye ice. It's got nothing to do with the sun. It's called a volcano.
It also has a Starbucks with a Subway sandwich shop inside.
It's called the Eskimo latte. That's what that's going to be. For that Eskimo on the go, try your seal blubber whale skin latte.
Like an Italian ice.
When you walk up to the shop, they're like, "It's nice to see you."
Yeah, sorry, that one's going in the book. Whale blubber latte.
Whale blubber latte. Yeah, that's a good one. We are the Mothership Connection, talking about anything that we feel like. But if it's weird and it's neat, we talk about it. Carrie, how can people get a hold of us?
We got the Mothership Connection fan page, and then we have the Gregory DeGuire front page with George Clinton with an elephant trunk on it.
That's from the album Trombipulation, which is a wonderful word. Which is supposedly the word of the elephant. When an elephant takes something with its trunk and puts it in its mouth, that word is called trombipulation, and George Clinton thought it was a great word, and he named the album where that picture is from.
I didn't know that it was a word attached to what elephants do with their trunks.
Trombipulation.
Well, I learned something new today.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to win a trivia question with that one day.
When that comes up, man, we're going to do it. Yeah.
And like I said, I know we don't always talk a lot about current events, but in this specific moment in time, there's a few odd things that are happening. The hurricane is one of them. The other one is my new favorite topic of North Korea, because it just won't go away. And as of the filming of this episode, he just launched an intercontinental missile that went over Japan. But it went so far over Japan, it was in the upper atmosphere. I don't think his intent was to hit Japan. It just shot that way and happened to go over Japan. And not that that's a defense in his position at all. It's why would you do that?
This is the equivalent.
With a button.
It's the drunken teenager on the 4th of July throwing bottle rockets. There was a situation we happened to be in Wisconsin a few years ago. There were 2 Jamokes, Mamalukes, pinheads, and they got in the 4th of July. Did you hear about the story? And they were by a large sausage plant called the Patrick Cuddy. And they did the bottle rockets, started the plant on fire. And
I remember that.
A couple $1 million worth of damage. And the people in the forensics, whenever they fire, they can trace it really well. They trace it to where it came from, and they were going to charge those guys. And it turns out, I think they were.
I use that, the Mamalukes.
Mamalukes. Yeah, that's my buddy.
We are the Mamalukes.
That's an Italian word. It's like a loser. Mamalukes, jabronis.
I like it. I like it.
Jamokes, jabronis, Mamalukes. Basically the same thing.
Yeah, I remember when that happened because the price of bacon skyrocketed immediately.
Well, the stuff that they already did came cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smelled like a giant breakfast
So I don't know what's going to happen with North Korea, but where I work, it's a topic of conversation while we're working.
I don't think it's. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I don't know if it's what's going to be with North Korea. It's what happens after.
That's the thing, because it's the X factors that are involved. Because it's going to involve China, it's going to involve Russia. Because if it were just North Korea, if there was a war, it'd be over in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yep.
Because all you have to do is send a couple of the stealth bombers overhead, and bye-bye. Pyongyang is the capital of North Korea, and it's going to be Pyongyang after that. It won't be anything. It won't be anything left. Pyongyang. From Pyongyang to Pyongyang. And I got.
We're gonna look at these next week and be like, oh my goodness.
Hey, wait! Don't tell them you're Jewish.
Wait, what's in the picture? It's a parking lot. So yeah, but the thing is, you wipe North Korea off the map, which would take about 10, 15 minutes. Then what? They are heavily funded by China, but so are we. Without China, our economy collapses overnight, in minutes, really. So what are you supposed to do? It's an easy answer to say, well, you get a couple snipers in the hill, we can land, they will never know, and you off this kook in 3 seconds, and once he's gone, the country's going to fold, because he's got the people so oppressed. They're dying to see what the hell a pair of blue jeans look like. They want to be Americanized. I mean, not politically, but they want milkshakes, not even from McDonald's. It doesn't matter. They want to be out of there, but he's got a lid on that country. You take him out, and the country will fold, or you bomb it back to ancient times, whatever happens. But it's what happens after that. You're right. China, Russia, what are they going to do? They're all pals.
World War 3, 4, and 5 is going to start.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I don't think anything has quite happened yet. It's going to take a real act of aggression. If a missile lands on on Japan, or a Coke can flies over the 38th parallel, hits South Korea, it's going to be gone. We're waiting for them to throw the first punch. But Kim Jong-un is not dumb enough to do that. As dumb as he is, he's not quite dumb enough to throw the first punch.
Some dumb son.
Some dumb son, yep.
That's his name should be. Because, I got my business with my dad. Me and my dad are in business.
Got a small one of $1 million.
I was listening to the radio, and there was two guys in the station. They were making fun of this guy's name, and they couldn't remember it all of a sudden. So what's that guy's name? Young come too soon? What's the guy's name? What?
Cream of some young guy?
Yeah, you can't say that on the radio. Young come too soon? Come on.
Wow. And they're all over there making fun of our names.
I know.
Greg and Carrie.
That's how we work at work all the time.
Now think about it. On this planet, you got to believe aliens have to be watching this. I'm sure
they're laughing their asses off.
It's like, what are they doing there? They're in fighting. They're in breeding.
They're like Beavis and Butthead watching us. Oh, look at they gotta be. They gotta be. I mean, the stupidity that happens is people putting suntan lotion on their eyeballs. We talked about that last episode. Come on.
It's the guy from SpongeBob. My eyes.
Yeah, it's the
you
Simpsons.
Wouldn't understand.
The Simpsons. It's the mob mentality. There was one episode where they want to burn down the science center. It was an episode where they found an angel in a parking lot, like bones of an angel. So they sent the bone of an angel to be tested, and science proved it inconclusive. And Mo starts to write, the bartender, Mo says, well, I've had enough of this. Let's burn down the science center. So the whole mob gets pitchforks and torches and burns down the science center. And out comes a robot in flames. I said, why? Why was I programmed to feel pain? Then they move on. Then they move on to the museum. And he's more screaming about how bad science is. He knocks down a mammoth skeleton. The mammoth skeleton lands on him and goes, oh, when will science be able to save me? Like, that's people. We hate it. And then when it destroys them, when is it going to save me?
I'm just wondering, is the entire universe flawed like humans on this planet?
Of course it is. It's got to be.
So, I mean, you hear stories, again, about there's wars that have been going on in the cosmos for millions of years. If you just like...
The Crips versus the Bloods.
Exactly. Right, the Greys versus
the Greens.
The Greens. They're flashing gang signs with 3 big long fingers.
Orcs versus elves. Yeah, shirts versus the perpetual skins.
These and other problems will be solved in the next Mothership Connection. Thanks for having him. That's Carrie. He's Greg. My name is Toby Maxwell. You've been a wonderful audience.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al, our alien pal. The Mothership will fly again. Coming soon to a computer near you.